What up, everybody? We got the Rec Room episode 17, and we're doing a little joint episode today, which I'm pretty fired up for. Hello, Jed Henry Brocky, my
What's up?
guy. How are you, man? You good?
I'm good. I'm good. Today's a good day. I'm not going outside. There's too much snow, so we're inside today. But we're
No,
good.
it's about eight inches on the ground right now, and it's still
Yeah,
continuing to come down. But let me tell you something. It's getting hot in here because we got a guy out from the West Coast, my man Luke Basso, our man, I should say. Jet, I wanted to take a second to say thank you for being willing to kind of put us together and connect us so as to make this happen. That was super cool.
yeah, for sure.
I'm
I'm
just
happy to
glad.
be here.
Yeah,
Happy.
most definitely, dude. I'm just glad that we could bring it back. But my man, Luke, first off, I want to bring you in here and ask, man, how are you doing? What's been going on in your corner, and what have things been like since the you know end of the season for you?
Yeah. I'm doing great. First off, I just want to thank you for bringing me on, Brian and Jet. Jet and I go way back, so this is a full circle moment for us. But yeah, things are going well right now. I got like 1 inch of snow outside, not 8 inches like you guys right now. So we're seeing what we got. But everything's been going well with football. We're in lifting right now and running, just kind of the winter grind and postseason work. So focusing on that in school, getting our mind and body right, and getting ready for spring ball down the corner.
That's right. That's right. And that's actually a great place to start, I feel, is that this season that we're just coming off of was undoubtedly one to remember for you all. I was wondering, man, talk me through a little bit of like, have you been able to reflect on the year that was? And what were some of the things that you did take away from the highs and the lows of any season, but this one in particular, 12-team playoff, new conference, and everything else?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, just all in all, like I told Coach Lanning this, Coach Lorg, my special teams coordinator, and all the players that this was by far the most fun season of football I've ever had. Like there was all the way from third grade through now, definitely at Oregon. Like this was the most special team, and I've got to play with so many amazing players and coaches in my career. I just feel very blessed to have had this opportunity. Being 13-1, winning the Big Ten championship, and getting to do that alongside my brothers was a very special opportunity. Especially starting out in fall camp and way before that, but visualizing and seeing what we could accomplish, we knew we could go far and selfishly, getting to be the number one team in the country for a long time, like that's something that you dream about as a kid. And playing in the Big Ten, I had a lot of fun in the Pac-12, but getting to play teams like Michigan, Ohio State, like that's what you dream about as a kid, is having those opportunities, going to those stadiums, playing those amazing players and coaches. And but this was such a fun season, and I was so thankful to be part of it. Personally, I grew in my faith a lot this season. That was a big thing for me, and so I got baptized right after the Idaho game,
Mm,
and I kind of felt like that carried me through this season. So I personally had a really good season, and that just allowed me to play free. And there was a huge movement in college football and on our team too with that kind of opened a lot of people's eyes, and but just overall the connection with the guys, the players, the coaches, it was something special this year. And so I felt very grateful that we had the opportunity to go play in the Rose Bowl and live out some childhood dreams.
most certainly. And so often, I think what you just said was really interesting. I want to give you flowers for saying what you just said, which is that a movement of faith was happening. But I think this year, man, the narrative was that it's kind of Oregon against Ohio State, right? That's kind of what it became. And especially after such a gem of a game in Austin earlier on in the season, that's kind of how it was, dolled up to be. But the thing that people missed is that these things behind the scenes were happening. And it was more than football at some point. It's like, man, we got to think about this from a deeper level. So I was wondering in that, like, is there anything that you heard or any connection you had to the movement that was happening in Columbus at Ohio State as well?
Yeah, well, I saw on like social media, Instagram, TikTok, all of it, what was going on over there. And
Hmm.
that was so cool. Our team chaplain, Josh Bidwell, he does a great job. We have men of God meetings, chapel with the team, and I was blessed to be baptized alongside like 15 of my teammates. But seeing that movement, across college football, specifically at Ohio State, it was very fun to have the opportunity to play those guys, knowing what was going on, and to have them come to Eugene, come to Autzen, it was a sweet opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think what you just touched on right at the end there was we experienced things in college football this year that hadn't happened before by
Mm.
way of traveling to certain places and playing some new opponents and things. Like, is there anything, what was your and the team's general consensus of what it was like to be traveling and be playing against new competitors, and how did you all take that in stride?
Yeah, we loved it. I know I for sure loved it. I like flying. I like
Mhm.
going new places, seeing new things, but Lanning always says just put the ball in a parking lot and we'll go play. Like it doesn't matter where we go, just
Yeah.
let's go play ball. So it was awesome getting to go to so many cool stadiums, and traveling really wasn't that bad. Like I know a lot of other sports, it's tough because they have a lot more games than we do, and you have games in the middle of the week, and we just have games on Saturday and every once in a while a Friday. But it was super organized. Our staff did a great job of handling it. Our strength staff did a really amazing job getting our minds and bodies right, prepared for all that travel. So, um, being able to do that, especially with such a long season, and this was the longest season in college football history, I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
it was awesome, and we handled it really well.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I know before we kind of jumped into the official side of the podcast, you and I were, well, the three of us, I should say, we're talking about what it's like to connect the worlds, right? And kind of have it be a little bit smaller. We talked about the Oregon connection and the different sports connections. So I got to ask you, being a Oregon grown kid and being at the university, do you know Daly McClellan on volleyball there?
Yeah, I do. She's
Cool.
awesome.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool. So here's why I bring this up. Daly and the Ducks came here to Michigan State,
Mhm.
and her and I went to elementary school together and middle school.
Really?
Right? Yeah, yeah. So it was like there was that element also.
All world.
But you know what I got to ask her, Luke, which I'm dying to ask you. And then Jet, after that, I want to give you the floor. Is
Okay.
like, man, what does it mean to you to be an Oregon kid who's representing the O? Like, tell me about that because you've done it a couple years and done it at a high level, both on the field, off the field. I'm dying to know what thoughts and feelings you have about that.
It's hard to put it in the right words, like how much it means to me. But of course, I'm gonna go ramble on for like 3 minutes right now. But it really is hard to put in the right words, like how much it means. Being from Oregon and growing up in Oregon my whole life, like every kid, whether whether you're a Beaver fan, whether you're a Duck fan, like imagines dreams of playing at Oregon. The O, that I mean, it's the school to be at. And I feel like in 5, 10 years, when I look back, maybe it will all truly set in. Being in the now right now, I'm just kind of focused on everything that's in front of me, that I don't really get an opportunity sometimes to just be where my feet are and think about it. But I'm just so grateful, and to have had the opportunity to play for the big school in my state.
Hmm.
Like kids, that's what kids dream about. That's what they want, and um I never imagined that I would be here today. It wasn't part of my plans early on in high school. I just, could snap a ball well between my legs, and when the opportunity came, I knew what I wanted, and the last 4 to 5 years has been just the most amazing experience. I've met so many amazing people, and my love for Oregon has grown exponentially. So it's it's been wonderful.
Hmm. Hmm. Most certainly. And I do have another one that I'm curious about off of that. But Jet, I want to get you in here. What do you have for me, my guy?
What you mean? What you mean? What do I got for you?
I
Yeah,
mean,
maybe not.
is there
Hey, maybe
anything that
not.
you
What do you want me to say?
do you want to see something answered? You know, get in here.
Um, I guess. So you kind of talked about your faith development. Has there been like a on-campus ministry or anything that's kind of like helped you through that in your walk this year?
Yeah, specifically, so there's a group called Salt Company on campus. They do an amazing job every Thursday night. I think they probably have that at Michigan State. Have you heard of that?
I go to Salt at every Thursday at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
There it is.
so
yeah,
Salt Company Thursdays, they just brought it to Oregon last year,
Sure.
and they've done an amazing job of bringing so many college kids to step further into their faith.
Mm.
And I have an amazing group of guys. We do a connection group on Mondays. Preston Alford, who's one of our receivers, Austin Novosad,
Mhm.
quarterback,
Mhm.
he gets a big group of guys, athletes, non-athletes, and brings them over to fellowship at their house on Mondays. But Salt Thursdays and Jack, our leader, he's been amazing, and they're big. They're big into connection with Generations Church, a church that kind of started up here in Eugene, and they do an amazing job on Sundays. Saul, the leader, he played football at Oregon, which is a great connection, and they've been amazing with college kids. So having that has been a blessing. And then on top of that, Josh Bidwell, our team chaplain, he's just done an amazing job of getting guys on the team to step further in their faith. Like he'll sit in the kitchen, in the dining hall at the football facility, and he'll just have his "What would Jesus do" bracelets. He'll have his Bible open. He'll
Mm.
talk to anybody and everybody, and he's ready to help out. So there's lots of resources and people that have helped.
that's awesome.
Very
Uh, yeah, I was at conference over winter break, and I got the opportunity to hear Saul's sermon, and that was awesome. That was like the highlight of the weekend. Honestly, it was so good, bro.
Speaks so
So
well.
Most certainly. Most certainly. I think like I wanted to tie this conversation together because I think it's one of the most important conversations that any guy could have, as we're trying to figure out our identity, man, and place in the freaking world.
Yeah.
But I gotta ask, because you phrased it in such a way that kind of made me think, okay, there's something here. You talked about finding that skill of snapping a football. And I say that because, like, man, when we think about snapping a football, it's like, what can that really do? Like what implications does that have on a larger scale? But to me, when I think about your story, the last couple of years, I think, man, being able to utilize that and steward that well has led you to places that are hard to even put into words, as you said. So here's what I got to know is like when you were starting to discover that, what did that process of discovery look like? Like, was it a thing that you noticed very early of like, oh, I can take this somewhere? Or was it a slow progression?
So in youth football, I was always a center. Like I was one of those middle guys where they didn't really want to put me at receiver. So they're just like, okay, screw it. Let's make this guy an offensive lineman. So they put me at center, and I learned how to snap a ball with my right hand from that. And that was kind of just, it was nothing. But my sophomore year of high school, we had a long snapper on the varsity football team, but they were kind of looking ahead of the future. He was going to graduate, and one of the coaches came up to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to learn how to long snap?" So he brought me out on the field. I started doing some drills. I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm doing. So he recommended a camp for me, and that was Rubio long snapping. So in October of that year, I go to this camp, and it was the best experience. I met so many great guys. Coach Rubio was awesome. He made me comfortable, and his whole system was starring and ranking you with a bunch of feedback. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try this. Like, I'm not super big, I'm not super fast, but I'm athletic enough, and I'm probably not going to play college football at the Division I level for linebacker or O line or tight end. So I'm going to just take the snapping thing and run with it. And honestly, at first I was like, I didn't even know what a long snapper was. I just thought that it was the center for every college football team that just did it. So started to learn. My dad was, I mean, he was my savior. He helped me so much with everything. Like on days that were bad, he would lift me up. He would always be asking to train, and he pushed me to be where I am today. And we would go up to Lake Ridge. I live right next door to the high school. Train, go to more camps to a point where I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I mean, why not go all in? So I was thankful enough to have opportunities to go to some schools, and then Oregon offered, and I committed within the next week. So it was a long process, and when people look at snapping, they think, okay, that's the easiest thing in the world, but they don't see all the stuff that goes into it and all the minute details that it takes to be good at the position.
Certainly. Certainly. There's a kid who is coming in there. He'll be I'm not actually probably not there yet. But I suppose you would know. Mark Weeper, he's coming in from Wilsonville. And man, he told me that same exact thing. He said coaches came up, got the offer, and I was there 2 days. It was like, man, snap of fingers, I'm there. What is it like? Because I got to watch, it was a YouTube series that was new this year. That was, I think it went by a few different names, but it was like That Team Out West, or,
Yeah.
a couple of these like inside the ropes, University of Oregon football kind of documentaries, if you want to call them that. Did you ever have any experience with those? Like, was there anyone who ever, came up to you? Like, what is it like to have that internal media coverage that we all get to see on YouTube?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, it was fun. And they weren't a huge distraction or anything, but there were definitely some camera crews at practices, and our media team, our film crew does an amazing job. Like they're
Mhm.
spot on with everything. I think that's pretty evident. Uh but yeah, during the summer fall camp and at the practices, they did a great job of covering kind of the inside out of the team. And I loved watching the videos. They'd be like 30 minutes long or something like that, and I'd be impatient waiting for them to drop it because I was like, okay, I see what they're filming at practice, but now I want to see how they really produce it and what it looks like to
Yeah,
the outside. So it's kind of fun to have that best of both worlds where you can kind of see the ends of it, but also, how well they produce it. So it was cool. It was fun to have around this year.
most certainly. Jet, I'm gonna bring you back in, buddy. You got
Okay, what's up?
you got anything more?
Um, what does your day-to-day life look like outside of like, when it's off season, you have downtime and you're like, let's say you're not lifting, you're not doing some, team meeting. What does it look like for you?
All right, that's a great question. Sleep in as much as I can.
Okay.
I got the blackout curtains, so I'm gonna sleep in. I like to cook, so I spend a lot of my day cooking. That's something that I've gotten into in college a lot. But after I get that stuff done, golf,
Oh, man.
hang out all the time with my teammates and my friends. I've got a couple guys on the javelin squad that I love. But I'll go golfing with my roommates. They got some pretty courses around Eugene. And other than that, just kind of figuring out what to do, going house to house. I got a little scooter that I just ride around on, and when I'm bored, I'll just go on little rides around the back of Autzen and just enjoy the nature and scenery. So whatever I can do to get outside.
Awesome. Awesome.
Man, most definitely. Well, listen, I want to be conscientious of your time, so I kind of want to get us moving here. But if you don't mind, how would you feel about participating in a little rapid fire segment?
Let's do it.
Cool, cool, cool,
Ready.
cool. So, folks, in case we got some branding coming up, this is Rolling Loud on the Rec Room. We're doing a new rapid fire segment. So, I'm going to hit you with a couple, Luke, and then I'm very curious to know where you sit at. Could be a word, could be a sentence, but let's keep this thing short and just keep it rolling.
Sounds good.
Here we go. 2025 as a season and as a year would be complete if you what?
Won the national championship.
Ah, uh-huh. There it is. I love it. I love it. Dude, okay, here we go. Now we're heating up. I like this. If you could do, oh, no, no, no. We're going to go here first. Give me your best Coach Lanning story.
Oh, my best Coach Lanning story. Okay, this one's I mean it's kind of multiple stories because it happens a lot.
Sure.
But it'll be the middle of season. It'll be rainy, cold, like 42 degrees, whatever it is. And I'll just be hanging out at practice and I'll look over and Lanning's on the mic, yelling at somebody, telling him to run, do something, whatever it is. And it's freezing out. Everyone's bundled up. And he'll just be shirt off, just cold, full body's red. And he's just running around like everybody else. He's waving his shirt. Like I just love seeing that because he's one of the guys, he's not bigger than the team. He loves being part of it. He always brings the energy. So every time he does that, it's always a good time.
Most certainly. Most certainly. Man, if there is anything that us in the external world would not know about either the state of Oregon or the city of Eugene, what is that? Tell me something unique. Tell me something new.
Okay, that's a great question. I'll do a boring one about Eugene. Kind of boring. This is if correct me if I'm wrong. Anyone can look this up, but I'm pretty sure that the first one-way street began in Eugene. So Eugene driving, if you ask anyone in Eugene, it's kind of tough. It's not the most fun to drive around Eugene. Lots of one ways and they'll switch up on you fast, so you got to be careful. But I learned that this year. And then for Oregon in general, I would say if you don't know anything about Oregon, like at all, and I thought this was kind of just general knowledge, but Crater Lake is in Oregon,
Mhm.
and this is super sad, but I have never been there. And I've lived in Oregon my entire life. And Crater Lake, I'm pretty sure it's like the deepest lake in the United States, something like that.
That's
And
right.
I've never been. So if you get a chance, beat me to it. Get out there. Lots of pretty nature, lots of places to go. So yeah.
Most definitely. And the last one I got for you is shoot, where was I going to go with that? Oh, hang on. I got something here. Uh, oh yeah. If you could do a like brand endorsement deal with anybody out there, who would it be? We're gonna try and hook it up right now.
Okay. Okay. That's sweet. So I'll stick with the golf theme
Okay.
that
Yeah.
we've talked about because I do like golfing. And it's that time of year pretty soon where we're gonna heat up. I would love like a tailor-made sponsorship. Get some new irons, some P790s. I don't even know what the new stuff is,
That's right.
but I could get some new golf gear, some new golf clubs to up the game. That'd be pretty sweet. I
Oh
mean, I
man.
could say something like, who knows, maybe a private jet would be pretty cool. I've seen some college football players with that, but I'll be modest. I'll stick with the golf clubs.
That's right. That's right. How about a relationship with Tiger Woods, huh?
That'd be pretty sweet. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we'll fire
could
that
go
up.
for a golf round with Tiger Woods.
Most definitely. Well, Jed, you got anything? Rolling loud, rapid fire?
think I'm good. I think I'm all good.
Well, Luke, thank you so much for being on the show and for doing this with us. And it's just been good, man, to hear more about you and what's going on. And I'm really glad that you guys could little reconnect. That was cool.
Yeah,
Uh, and man, before we get out of here, is there anyone that you'd like to shout out or give thanks to for anything that's going on?
that's awesome. My parents, man, my mom, Kelly, my dad, Pat. Like I don't say it enough, but without them, I have no idea where I would be today. Like I said earlier about my dad and my mom, there were some days where I would just beat myself up and mentally just um not be there for myself. And they were. And I've, in my college career, I've experienced a lot of ups and downs, but there is no one in the world that loves you more than those people right there. And I'm just very thankful to have them as family. They push me, they motivate me. So those two have been my rocks, my number one supporters, and without them, I have no idea where I'd be. So thank you, mom and dad. Love you guys.
Most definitely. Most definitely. And folks, shoot, that has been the Rec Room episode 17 with Oregon long snapper and I would say Oregon aficionado, Luke Basso. Let's go. Keep on rolling. Sweet. Let's see.